Okay. So homework 5. And I need one of you to work with me on Monday's problem.
Oh, Francis.
Teddy.
Francis.
Okay, Francis, go ahead.
I can do question 2.
So Monday's problem, Francis, go ahead. Yeah, everybody else, please put yourself on mute. Francis, I think you're on mute actually. So if you can, yep, unmute yourself. Go ahead.
And the question says, Amy, Mia, and Joe each have their favorite color among green, yellow, and red. Amy said, I don't like yellow. Mia said, I don't like red or yellow. Find out their favorite color by placing X or a check mark in the table below. So Mia said, I don't like red or yellow. So she has to be so you gotta cross out the two you gotta make 2 X's in yellow and red for her and place the her check mark in green. For Amy, she says she didn't like yellow, and then but since green's already taken up, so you gotta put a check mark X in green, and then the check mark X in yellow, and then a check mark in red.
And what about Joe now?
Both green and red are both taken up, so you gotta put an X in both of those, and then you
for Joe, okay.
know that it's going to be yellow.
Okay, yep. So that's how we figured out their favorite color for the 3 of them, okay? So Monday's problem, it's quite straightforward. I hope everybody got the same answer as Francis and I did here. Now Tuesday's problem, do we have a volunteer?
Me, Teddy.
Hayden.
Okay, Teddy, go ahead.
So what I did is that for I know that Mia's second in line, and it's stated that Joe is in front of Amy, which in this case, since Joe cannot be last in line or first, he has to be third, and then Amy is fourth, and then in the remainder, Tom is first.
Okay, so Mia, we knew that she is second in line, and we knew that Joe is in front of Amy. So we need 2 spots for these 2, right? They're together. So they have to be this third and the fourth. So the first person should be Tom, first in line. Okay, everybody got the same answer? Great, moving on to Wednesday.
Can Kaden do it? Kaden.
Yeah, Kaden, go ahead.
Okay, so Amy, Mia, and Joe each draw 2 cards from 7 cards that are numbered 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14. The sum of the numbers on Amy's cards is 22. The sum on Mia's cards is 10. The sum on Joe's cards is 14. Which card is left behind? So I sort of just did like guess and check. So first, the sum of Amy's numbers is 22. So I
hold on. So the sum for Amy's number is 22. Then what kind of, so if Amy drew 2 cards, what kind of combinations can give Amy 22 as the sum?
14 and 8.
Okay, so 14 and 8, that's 22. Any other?
10 and 12.
Very good. 10 and 12, that also gives her 22. And then what about Mia?
Mia's cards are 10, so she could have 8 and 2 or 4 and 6.
Very good. And what about Joe? Joe's cards, sum is 14.
Is 14, so he could have 10 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
Could have 6 and 8.
Okay.
Could have 2 and 12.
2 and 12. Very good. So you listed all possibilities to make these three sums? What kind of combinations of two cards can make these three sums? Very good. So that's your step one. Now, you said you made an assumption. You assumed something. What did you
Yeah,
assume?
so I was like, if Amy had her cards numbered 14 and 8, then I knew Mia couldn't have 8 and 2 because
Yeah, very good. Then
it's used.
Mia, let me write.
And
Then
then
Mia couldn't have 8 and 2. So Mia must have had what?
4 and 6. And then since over here 6 and for Joe 6 and 8 are already used, it can and 4 is already used. So that
Yeah.
means Joe had cards 2 and 12.
Yeah.
And so the card number 10 is left behind.
Yeah. So Joe could only have had 2 and 12. So 10 is left behind.
Mhm.
Nobody draw 10 from the 7 cards. So, okay, but Kaden, what if? So you made this assumption and you had an answer, right? And Joe had 2 and 12 and Mia had 6 and 4. But what if you started assuming, let's just say, what if we assume Amy had drawn not 14 and 8, but 12 and 10. I'm sorry. Yes, 12 and 10. What if Amy chose, we chose to start with this for Amy? Then what could Mia have? Then Mia
And Mia could have been either one of the combinations.
yes, could have drawn either 8 and 2 or 6 and 4. But what about Joe?
Then if Mia chooses like 8 plus 2, he can't do 6 plus 8. He can't do 2 plus 12, so he can only do 10 plus 4.
Okay, so if Mia chose 8 and 2, Joe can only do what? Joe could only have done
10 plus 4.
10 plus 4.
But since Amy had 10 plus 12, he can't.
Yes, but Amy took 10. So Joe has no card, right? Joe has no card to choose from, right? But if Amy chosen what? 6 and 4, Joe then do what?
Then he could do.
Joe could only do 2 and 12, right?
But Amy has 12.
But
so-
Amy, in the assumption, Amy took 12. So Joe had no cards
Yeah.
under this assumption. Then that's why we're saying Amy did not draw 10. So this one is not correct, this assumption. And we should go with the first assumption. Very good. Very, very good, Kaden. So, and another way to, this is, okay, let's just say Caden's method. This is a more general way of doing it. But for this question in particular, there is another faster way to figure it out.
I have another way to do it.
Anyone?
Me, Anthony. I have another
Anthony,
way
go
to do
ahead.
it.
What did you do?
Okay, so I line the numbers up.
Okay, add all the numbers up.
No, like line them all up.
Yep. And then what?
Okay, and then if you put it backwards in another row right under that one.
Oh, okay, let's see. So you said line them up. I thought you said add them up. Okay, line them up and put them backward like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see that they both add up to 16.
Okay, all of them, all the pairs add up to 16. Then what?
And there are seven numbers in each
Yeah.
row. So
Yes.
you just do 7 times 16 divided by 2.
Okay.
Minus the 3
Uh,
sums.
right. Okay.
And you get 10.
So that's okay. So you figured out there are 7 pairs of 16, but then divided them by 2 so that you get a sum of all the 7 cards. And then do what? Minus the sum
And
of
mi-
22.
minus 10, 22, and 14 from them.
Right.
You get 10.
You get 10. Okay, so everybody, did you see what Anthony did? So he basically figured out the sum of the 7 cards, and then he subtracted the sum of the 7 cards by the sum of the 3 sums, right? By the sum of the 3 sums. So what he did was, let's just figure out how much all of the cards sum up to, and then we figure out how much all of these 3 people have drawn. So whatever is left over, that number should be the card that's nobody has drawn from the cards. So that's a quick way for this problem, but you know, I want you guys to go with cadence way, because sometimes the question could be different, right? There could be 2 cards left behind. So the more general way is to use logic to make assumption. So we have talked about 2 methods for this question. Both are okay. Now moving on to Thursday, guys. Okay, do you need more time? I'm seeing some of you are still writing. I'm going to give you 30 seconds on this one, and then
Can
we're
I
going
have
to move on to
Thursday?
Thursday.
Can I have Thursday?
What's your name?
Hannah?
Oh, Hannah. Okay, yeah, sure. Hannah can do Thursday. So do you need more time on Wednesday? It's a little tricky. Okay, are we good on Wednesday? All right, I am moving on to Thursday. Okay, Hannah, why don't you read the question to us first?
Miss Green has 3 kids, Amy, Mia, and Joe. One day when she got home from work, she found her favorite vase was broken. Below were the kids' replies when questioned. Amy, I did not break it. Mia, neither did I. Joe, Amy broke it. If 2 of the kids lied, who had broken Miss Green's favorite vase?
So Hannah, what did you do?
So let's say Amy lied,
Okay,
and then she said, and
so
then
if
it's
we
like,
assume Amy lied, is that what you did? Okay, then?
and then so one of the other ones has to be truth and then a lie. So if Amy broke it, Joe has to be true.
Okay, so let's go back. Hannah, let's make the assumption this way. So I'm gonna do this, and we can go back. Okay, so let's say first we assume Amy, so we assume Amy broke the vase. Okay, can we do that? Then we're just gonna label truth versus lie. Then let's look at the 3 kids, Amy, Mia, and Joe. So if Amy broke the vase, did Amy tell a truth or lie?
A lie.
Yeah, okay. So what about Mia?
She is telling the truth.
Okay. What about Joe?
She's Joe's telling the truth, so like Amy didn't break it.
Amy broke it. Amy broke, so Joe told the truth. Yeah, but in this case, only one kid lied. So we know that Amy did not. So Amy did not break it. Now let's assume, if we assume Mia broke the vase, then we do the same. Truth versus lie, and we put 3 names here. So now if Mia broke the vase, what about Amy? Did she tell the truth or a lie?
The truth.
Yes. Then what about Mia?
So Mia broke it because if Joe lied, and then Mia lied too, so 2 of the kids lied.
Yeah, so 2 of the kids lied. 2 kids lied. So Mia broke it. Okay, so Mia broke it. And then let's just finish everything. Let's just finish up with, if we assume that Joe is the one, then what kind of truth versus lie profile should we have here?
So Joe lied, and then Amy told the.
Joe lied, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
Joe
Joe
lied.
broke it, so Joe lied, and Amy told the truth, and
Yeah,
Mia told the
and
truth.
Mia told the truth.
So only one kid lied. So Joe didn't break it. Yep, I'm going to give you some time. That's how we figured out it's Mia. Because the question told us 2 of the kids lied. So your assumption has to be consistent with this information from the question, right? And this is not consistent. This is not consistent. Only the middle one, only the second one is consistent with the question. So Mia did it.
Can Maggie do Friday?
Maggie, you want to do Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Guys, are we good with Thursday? Can we move on? Maggie, go ahead. Why don't you read the question first?
Okay. Among Mia and her 2 friends, Amy is the lightest and Victoria is the heaviest. The table shows the total weight of two girls weighing themselves. Find the weight of each girl.
Okay.
So what I did was, if Amy was the lightest, I would look for the lightest weight there was on a table.
Okay, let's do a ranking first. Let me rank them up. Rank of weight. So 3 friends. Who is the lightest? Amy. Who is in the middle?
Mia.
Mia. And then who is the heaviest? Victoria. Victoria is the heaviest. So you have Amy, Mia, and Victoria. We're gonna just use A, M, and V. Okay, then first reading, we have 45 kilo. Whose weights can that be? 2 girls.
It was Amy's because, well, she's the lightest. And
yeah, but this is 2 girls. Maggie, this is 2 girls. This is the weight of 2 girls. So you need to figure out 45 comes from which 2?
45, I think.
So the weights below are from two girls, a combination of two girls. So the
Amy and
lightest weight,
Mia, I think.
yeah, so it comes from Amy and Mia. Amy and Mia together, 45 kilo. What about 55? 55 is the heaviest of the three readings. What would that coming from? What would that be coming from?
Mia and Victoria.
Very good. Mia and Victoria. What about the middle? 50 kilo.
I think it would just be Mia then.
No, this is all two girls. Okay, do we have anyone else? Anyone else figure this one out?
Can I do it? Can Hayden do it?
Can
We'll do it.
I think Hayden do it. Can Michael
Then
do
go
it?
ahead.
I
Kevin?
think it was Victoria and Amy.
Kevin?
I think Victoria and Amy.
Well, I got help.
Kevin, did you figure this one out?
Well, I got help from this one.
Well,
I think I got it.
Can I do
Oh,
it?
Okay,
Oh,
so 50. Whose weights are 50? Two girls.
yeah.
Amy
So
and-
so like so like so the heaviest weight it was 55 kilograms. So that would obviously like hold Mia and Victoria because those two are like the heaviest girl of the three.
Right. But what about the one? I mean, the third reading. I'm talking about 50.
Then that would be like then that would be Amy and Victoria.
Very good. So Amy and Victoria.
I literally just.
So you got the two lightest, they make the 45. You got the two heaviest, they made what, 55. Now you got the two
Yeah, equals 50.
equals 50. Very good. Now, how did you figure out each of the three girls, each of the three girls' weight? How did you figure that out with these three equations? Okay, Kevin, did you do that step?
Well, I remember doing that step, but I forgot.
Okay, anyone else? Anyone finish this problem?
I only
Can
did
Hayden
like,
do it?
down.
Can
We'll
Hayden
do
do
it.
it?
I
I finished the problem.
Can Michael do
I finished.
Okay, Ivy, can you do it? Ivy? Ivy, you're muted. Yep.
I just use the guess and check method.
Okay.
So since the lightest weight is Amy and Mia, the second reading is 55, which is the heaviest weight, which is Mia and Tori, which is Victoria. I just wrote Tori for short. And since 50 kilograms is Amy and Victoria, because it's in the middle, weighting. And then I just guessed that Amy weighed 20 kilograms, Tori weighed 30 kilograms, and Mia weighed 25 kilograms. Because because it just kind of makes sense because the weights can't be too far apart, and then it matches what it says on the paper. Because
Yeah.
Amy's the lightest with 20 kilograms. Tori was the heaviest with 30 kilograms, and Mia was in the middle with 25 kilograms.
Okay,
And then-
so Ivy, you guessed. Anybody has a different method?
I have a different method.
Michael, did you? Okay.
I found out that wait no. When I did 45, which was Amy and Mia, I knew they had to be like lighter,
Yeah.
like 5 or 10, because about 5 bigger or 10, because there's gonna be a 10 difference from the biggest to the smallest weight.
Okay.
55 is bigger than 45, and
Yeah.
45 is bigger than 5. So I just knew that 20 plus 25, which is 5 bigger, was
Okay.
45. 20 plus 30 was 50.
Yeah, okay, that's very good. So you figured out the 10, right? That's between the lightest and the heaviest. Anybody did it with the equations that are given? Nicole, I saw you raising your hand. Nicole, what method did you use?
Yeah, so the method I use is like first I saw the second reading. I have to have the heaviest, which is Toria and Mia, and Toria and Amy, and the first and the first and the second reading is Toria and Mia, since like it's lighter.
Yeah.
And then I did, so that way we can figure out that way I did 55 minus 50.
Okay, hold on.
Which is
Nicole, hold on. So Nicole did 55 minus 50 equals 5 kilo. And what does this mean, Nicole? What does this 5 kilo mean? What does the 5 kilo mean, Nicole? I think you're muted, Nicole. I think you're muted.
it means Mia minus Amy.
Very good. Okay, so we need that. Guys, I want you to take a look at these two equations. We just said Mia and Victoria is 55 and Amy and Victoria is 50. Now the difference, the only difference between these two, Victoria is the same. The only difference between these two are the difference between Mia and Amy. So when you subtract 55 with 50, you get 5 kilo. And you know Mia is heavier than Amy. So Mia is 5 kilo heavier than Amy. Okay, thank you so much, Nicole. So we figured that one part out. That's very, very important. Using these two equations, you figured out Mia is 5 kilo heavier than Amy, okay? That's very, very important. And then we just go ahead and draw a model, okay? We can draw a model like this. This is Mia, this is Amy. So this is Amy, this is Mia. And the difference here, this part is 5 kilo. What other information we know? We have one more equation we haven't used. The other, yep.
We know that Mia. We know that if you add Mia and Amy together, we got 45.
Very good. Thank you, Nicole. So the whole thing together, 45 kilo. Now, what do we do with the model? We first subtract 45 by 5 so that we get this part, the two equal bars. That is 40 kilo. Okay? So that's my 40 kilo. And 40 divided by 2, that's 20. And that is exactly what Mia would be, Mia's weight. So Mia is 20. And, oh, I'm sorry, Amy is 20. And Mia is 5 kilo heavier than Amy. So Mia is 25 kilo. And Victoria, how do we figure out Victoria? Amy and Victoria is 50 kilo. And we know that Amy is 20. So Victoria is 50 subtracted by 20, 30 kilos, okay? So that's how you figured out everyone's weight. You have to observe these three equations and figure out the difference and the sum of only two girls, because you can't work with all three. Just work with two, try to work with two. And now we set up a model. So this question is very tricky. Okay, there are multiple steps. First, you rank their weight. Second, you figure out what those three equations would be. Third, you use the three equations to set up a model. Fourth, actually a fourth step is that you solve the model. Okay, so this is a very tricky question. And I'm proud of all of you who have tried, okay? No matter what you did, you guessed, you set up a model, or you use Michael's way. That's all fine. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time looking at this. Then we're going to move on to lesson 6. If you have time, if you are done with Friday's problem, go ahead and look at, take a look at the 4 examples on lesson 6. And I'm going to need 4 of you to work with me on those examples, okay? Evelyn, you have a question? No? Okay. Guys, I'm moving on. Melinda, you have a question?
No.
Okay. Any questions on the homework, guys, before we move on? Any questions?
Are we doing the challenge problem?
Do we have a challenge? Yeah, the challenge problem, you know what? This one, I tried it with Saturday's class, and it is really, really hard for them. So, you know, why don't we do this? I can quickly talk about this problem, but if you didn't get it, it's fine, because this is such a step up from our lesson 5. You know, lesson 5, we have something there, but it's much easier than this one. And this challenge problem, you really have to think hard, okay? So if you guys want to talk about it, we can talk about it. But let's see, Evelyn, you have a question?
Can I try it?
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, so if you guys are up to the challenge question, very good. Now let's do it together. So Evelyn, why don't you read the problem to us?
5 soccer teams are competing against each other. Every team must play exactly once against every other team. So far, Team A has played 4 games and Team B has played 3 games. If Team D and Team E have each played 2 games, how many games might Team C have played? Against which teams?
Okay. So Evelyn, I am going to draw something like this. So we have one more team than what we have in the lesson, right? We have 5 teams this time. And we know that A has played exactly 4 games. So A has played, that we have no question of, is that A has played against each of the other 4 teams. But now B has played 3 games, okay? B has played with A, and what kind of other games can B play?
It has to be against E and D because they have to have 2 games played.
Okay, B played against D and E. So if B played against, of course, an A. So if B played against D, E, and A, let's just do this. D, E, and A. In this case, C has played only 1 game. So only 1 game against what? Against A, right? But anybody or Evelyn, do you have another solution? Do you have another assumption? Like, okay, so we assumed B played against D, E, and A. So I saw some people raising hands. Okay, let's see. Kaden and Nicole and Kayla, what did you do? Kayla?
There's 3. I'll say one of them.
Okay, so
So,
B has played against D, E, and A. That's our first assumption, right? First assumption. And then what would be, what different
A.
choices could B has played?
And B played with D, C, and A.
Very good. Against A, C, and D. So B could have played against the C, A, and D. But in this case, E has to play 2 games.
Yeah, and then
right?
B played with C.
Very good. Because E cannot play with D.
So
Because
C has 3.
E has already played 2, right? So C has played 3 games against
Against
A.
A, B, and E.
Very good. Now we have a third situation that also would be consistent with.
I know.
Okay, let's see. Melinda, do you have a third? Melinda?
Yeah.
Melinda? Yeah? Go ahead. What's the third way of solving this problem?
B could have played with A, C, and E.
Very good. A, C, and E. But in that case, who has D played against? Because D has to play 2 games.
C.
Very good. Right. So in this case, if we assume B played against A, C, and E, then C has played 3 games against A, B, and D. Okay, so that's the whole picture for the challenge, and we really have to move on to the lesson. Okay, so if you didn't get it, it's okay. A lot of people from my yesterday's class, they thought this is too hard. But they're used to the situation where there's only one solution to a problem. So when they see all 3, all stand solid, right? This is 3 assumptions all turn out to be true. And they're a little confused. And I can understand. But I'll give you guys a little time to look at this challenge problem. Then I need 4 people, okay? I need 4 of you to work with me on the new lesson.
Can I do Monday? No, the first one.
What's your name?
Kayla.
Oh, Kayla. Yeah, sure. Let me, okay, so for the lesson,
Yeah.
okay, and I have to, Kayla, why don't you put yourself on mute first? I need to give you guys a little bit of overview of the interval. So this is called the interval problem.
Can Kaden do number 4?
Okay, guys, at this point, I only want to hear me talking, okay? I'm not asking for volunteers at this time. So this is called interval problems, right? And this is a type of questions that could be in your school, like could be in your word problems that you get from your teachers, from your regular teachers, right? So what this really is about is that you have a segment of something, right? So we're working with a segment of something. It could be a road, it could be a railway, it could be the rim of a pond, of a lake, but what you have is something like this. And then you have some marks. This mark could be trees, could be flags, could be anything, could be 2 buildings. And let's just say you have 3 trees. Let's just make this a tree. So there are marks. So this could be trees, could be buildings, could be flags, or any kind of things that divide this segment, right? And then the intervals are between, the intervals are the distance or the area between the mark, between 2 marks, okay? That's all that there is. But we are looking at a number. We're looking at a number. So we have 1, 2, 3 marks, and we only have 1 interval and 2 intervals. So I want you to remember 2 very easy formulas. Is that the number of the intervals equals the number of marks minus 1. and vice versa. When you have the number of intervals, you can figure out the number of marks by just do +1. Okay, so that's all there is. You need to, I mean, you can, when you take notes, you can draw something like this to help you understand. So you can draw the diagram and make sure that you have these two equations write down on your lecture notes. Okay, so the diagram and the two equations. Now I'm going to give you guys some time, and Kayla, are you ready? You can read example, the first example to all of us.
A road is 250 meters long. Trees are planted every 10 meters on one side of the road, starting at very beginning of the road. How many trees are there?
Okay, so let me draw this. The road is 250 meters long. We know the whole distance is 250 meters long. And then we're planting trees. So the first tree goes at the very beginning, starting very beginning of the road, first tree. And then every 10 meters, we're doing another tree. Every 10 meter, another tree. So this is all 10 meter. Now it goes on and on and on until we come to the end of the road, until we finish all the 250 meters. Now the question is, how many trees are there? Okay, Kayla, you have any idea where we should go with this?
And then 250 divided by 10 and then +1.
Very good. Let's do stepwise. Kayla, when you did 250 divided by 10 and you have 25, what does this 25 mean? It's the number of very good. It's the number of these guys. How many of the 10-meter intervals that I have? So number of intervals equals 25. Then how do you figure out the number of the trees?
And then since there's one at the end, you do 25 + 1.
Very good. And that's the number of marks. Now in this case, it's the number of trees, and that's just 26. Okay, so example 1 is a direct exercise of this, right? Is a direct exercise of the equations that we just talked about. So we figure out the number of intervals +1. That's the number of marks or trees in this case. Moving on to the second example. Thank you very much, Kayla. And we need someone, let's see, to give us. So I have not. Okay, let me see. Okay, Daniel, Charlie, guys, Adia, you want to try? Any of you?
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, okay.
Still
What
trying
about
to write it down, though.
Ethan? You want to try?
Sure.
Okay, Ethan, go ahead. Why don't you read the problem first?
116 trees were planted on one side of the road. With trees planted at opposite ends of that side of the road, the trees were planted at equal intervals of 5 meters. If lamp posts are to be installed along the other side of the road at equal intervals of 25, how many lamp posts are needed?
Okay, hold on. So Ethan, we have 116 trees on one side of the road and each placed at 5 meters of interval. And then on the other side of the road, we have lamppost. And this is spaced a little far from each other, farther away. It's like 25 meters instead of 5. So you have 25 meters. Every 25 meters, you have a lamppost. And it's on the other side of the road. So now the question is, we know that the distance is the same, right? So the distance here on one side of the road equals the distance on the other side of the road. So equal distance, same road. Now, if the lampposts are to be installed along the other side of the road at equal intervals of 25 meters, how many lampposts do we need? So what is the step one?
116 25 divided by 5 equals 5.
25 divided by 5. Okay, so any other ideas? What should we do? What should we do?
116 divided by 5.
So, okay, guys, one side of the road, you have trees. The other side of the road, you have lampposts. So these are two things. Step one, let's figure out the total distance of the road. Should we do that? Okay, how do we do it? How do we do it? You have 116 trees, and now you need to figure out the number of posts. So going back to the one side of the road that we have all the information that we need, right? So we have number of marks equals 116. Now, number of intervals. How, anyone? What should we do?
Can you just do 116 divided by 5?
You need to do.
Okay, let's do it stepwise, okay? Guys, Nicole, what do we do here?
160 minus 1 and then divided by 5 because the marks are always one more than the integers.
Divided by 5. Okay, so there are 116 trees. There are 115 intervals of 5. So we have 115 of these intervals. When we need to figure out the whole distance, what do we do?
115 times 5.
Very good. And what the number would be?
575.
Very good. So the road is 575 meters long. And on either side of the road, it's the same length, okay? So the first step, we figure out the total distance of the road. Now, step number 2, what do we do?
575 divided by 25.
Very good. So now we need to figure out the number of the new intervals. The new intervals means the intervals that's lined up, that's made by the lamp posts. So 575 divided by 25. Anyone? What's the number?
23.
23? Can we trust you?
23.
Okay, let me see.
25.
25, put 2 here. Yes, okay, very good. 23. We have 23 of these 25. So we have 23 of these, okay? On the other side of the road, 23 of these. Now, number of the new marks. How do we figure that one out, guys?
23 plus 1.
Very good. 23 plus 1 is 24 new marks, which is our lamp posts. That's how you figure it out. 24 lamp posts, okay?
Couldn't you just do 115? Couldn't you just do 116 minus 1 divided by 5?
Divided by 5, then what?
Then you would get 23 and then you would add 1.
No, it's not. Is that 105 divided by 5? So you have 23. And you know, this, you can only do this because we have a very, how do I say this? Very nicely set up numbers here. But usually we don't want you to do this, okay? Let me try this. If we change this number, right? If we change this number to something that's not multiple 5, then you really can't do this here. And you will have to figure out, and this might not, the last lamppost might not come to the end of the road. It might just stop here. and you will have to figure it out, right? So I would suggest you guys to do it the way I did, in a stepwise manner. And also this way you exercise the two equations that we just talked about, the intervals and the marks, and then the number of new intervals and the number of new marks, okay? So that's the second example. I'm going to give you guys some time to take a look. And then I'll need one of you to work with me on this third example. Okay, so the kids from yesterday's class, they did not get this third problem right, because there is a little trick. I'll see if you found that trick, okay? So I'm just going to give you a hint. I didn't give them any hint about the trick yesterday, and none of them figured it out.
Can Kaden do number 3?
Can Teddy do number 3?
Can Kaden do number 3?
Teddy do number 3?
Okay, we're going to give people a little more time to look at the second example, and then I'm going to see who. Charlie, you want to work with me on the third example? Charlie?
Can you hear me?
Yeah?
Okay.
Charlie? Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and read the problem to all of us?
The third example.
Yeah.
My lesson page is not here. So I'm gonna
Oh, okay. So anyone who has third example.
Can I do it? Can Kaden?
Can Teddy do it?
Yeah, Kaden, go ahead. You can do it.
Okay, so the perimeter of a playground is 500 meters. Trees are planted at regular intervals of 5 meters on the outline of the playground. How many trees are there? So first I did 500 divided by 5 equals 100. But then I saw that since the start point and the end point are both different, I subtracted 1 to get 99 trees.
Okay, 99, that's Cadence. Okay, so okay, guys, are you done with the second example? Are you done? Guys, are you done with the second example? Good? Okay. I am going to move on to the third. So Cadence said it's 99 because the first and the last one are the same. Let's see, are different, or I don't know what Cadence said, but guys, have you ever drawn a picture, the perimeter of a playground? The playground could be a oval shaped, or a circle, or a square, but this kind of a shape is what we call a closed shape.
Yeah.
What does that mean? It's not open-ended. It's not like a road. It has two ends. This shape has no end. Okay? And when you, yeah, and then when we have, let's just say, when you have 4 trees here, let's say 3 trees. Just as our first example, you have 3 marks. You only have 2 intervals. This is what we just talked about. 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark, and then 1 interval and 2 interval, okay? But when you have a closed shape, it has no end. There's no end. When you have 3 trees here, 1 tree, 2 tree, 3, the third tree. When you have 3 trees here, how many intervals do you have? Guys, can anyone tell me?
3 intervals.
Very good. You have 3 intervals, right? 1, 2, and 3. So what does this mean? This means that we have, so 2, and this is your third intervals, trying to mark them differently. But anyways, triangle versus the little sticks versus the circles. So you have 3 intervals with 3 marks. So that means you have then, exception to the 2 equations we just talked about. The exception is when you have a closed shape. The number of intervals equals the number of marks. Why is that? It's because when you close, okay, so this is your road, and then when you connect the two ends, when you make it a closed shape, you can just use this one tree to mark both the end and the beginning. So you ended up with 3 intervals instead of 2, okay? You have 3 intervals here, the third one. So that's the only exception here that I want to talk about. So this is the trick for the third question. So anyone else? Does anyone think that Kaden has the right? Anyone thinks Kaden has the right or the wrong answer? Kaden
Wrong.
said 99.
Wrong.
So okay, so what's the correct way to do the third example? Anyone?
I know.
Yeah?
500 divided by 5 equals 100.
Yeah, so it's just one step. That's 100 trees. That's also equals 100 intervals. So no subtraction, no addition. So it's just number of intervals equals number of marks. And you know, this is a playground. A lot of times you can see this could be a track field, right? A track field could be a pond, could be a lake, could be a pool. So anytime you see something like this, you know it's a closed
This is
shape.
Jim.
Uh-huh.
I have another class soon.
Yeah,
so
you can leave. Whoever who has another class, you can leave. But before you go, guys, we have the second unit test. Okay, I'm going to upload today in the evening. So you have your second unit test coming up if you look at your syllabus. And this time we are going to do it on the computer, which means I am not going to give you, I will give you a piece of, you know, the file that we used to do, but it's all going to be multiple choice, and you are going to do it just on the computer, like a real online contest, okay? So that's the only difference. Now moving on to the fourth example. Moving on to the fourth example, I need one of you.
I was still looking at the third example.
Oh, okay. Yep. So I'm going to have the fourth example here, and then you guys can continue to take notes.
Can I?
For those of you who are done, you can take a look at the fourth example, okay, guys? So anyone who wants to work with me on the last example?
Can I do it?
Can you tell me your name, guys? Who just spoken? Aiden? Was that Aiden?
No, it's Teddy.
Oh, Teddy. Yeah, Teddy, you can go ahead and do it. Why don't you read the question first?
Amy and Mia live on the 4th and 6th floors of the same apartment building, respectively. If Amy walks 60 steps from the ground to her apartment, how many steps does it take for Mia to reach her apartment from the ground? So what I did is I draw a picture.
Oh, okay. Hold on. So you guys are done with this third example, right? Then I'm going to.
I'm not done.
Oh, Adia, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, so we're just gonna talk about the fourth example. Okay, so Teddy said he drew a picture. So let me do the same. So we're gonna have a ground level. This is your ground. And then we're going to have a building here, right, Teddy?
Yeah.
So the first floor goes from, okay, first floor, then the second floor, then third floor.
By the way, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. So then the fourth floor, then the fifth floor, the sixth floor. Okay, Teddy, what did you do now?
Then I put Amy on the 3rd floor.
Yeah, Amy is on the 3rd floor.
No, well, no.
Amy's on the 4th.
Amy is on the 4th floor, and Mia is on the 6th. Okay, then what did you do?
Then we know that it stated that Amy walked 60 steps from her apartment to the ground.
So the number of intervals for Amy, how many intervals are here?
There are, wait,
1,
2, 3.
2, 3. Very good. So number of intervals. The marks are just the floor, right? The floor is the mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then intervals is 4 minus 1 equals 3. And then it took her 60 steps. So each interval has 60 divided by 2 equals 20, divided by 3 equals 20 steps in each interval. And the floors are equally spaced, right? We know that. And so the number of intervals for Mia, because she lives on the 6th floor, she has 5 intervals. So this is the 4th, this is the 5th interval. She has 5. And then we just do 20 times 5 equals 100 steps to reach Mia's apartment, because each of these is 20 steps. So you have 20 steps for each floor. Right, Teddy? Is that what you did?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So that's it for today. And again, we are going to upload, let me just do it here. We are going to upload your 2nd unit test. So your unit test 2, I'm going to upload this evening. And you have until Thursday by 5 p.m. You have to turn it in. And this is all online, okay? You do it online with multiple choice. Multiple choice. But you can only submit once. Multiple choice means what? So you choose from A, B, C, and D. You only have
Is 5 o'clock like Eastern time or?
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna give you 8 p.m., okay? So that's Eastern time, 8 p.m. Because there are some people on the West Coast, okay? So this is online, multiple choice, and I will give you the instruction will be posted. Instruction will be posted in Google Classroom. So you just have to check this evening, and then you have 4 days to finish. I know I want you guys to just spend 1 hour, and this time I want you to do no break. Okay, but this is open notes. You can look at whatever you want to look at with no break, because we're trying to simulate a real math contest where you are given multiple choice questions and you're doing it on a computer and in 1 hour with no break. So this is what's gonna be different for the 2nd test. And for those of you who are done taking notes, you can just quietly leave and have a good rest of the weekend. For those of you who are still taking notes, you can stay on.
Jean,
I
actually missed the first question because, well, I
the
wasn't.
first
Yeah,
example.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, me too. I had to go to the bathroom.
okay, so are we all done with whatever that's on the screen at this time? Are we all done here? We're all done. So then scrolling back to the first question here.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to take notes, you can take notes.
I need to take notes for how the unit works.
Yeah, you guys, I can work with you guys, but pick up your speed, okay?
I need to learn how to. No, I have to write down all the things for the unit test. 10, 10, 10 meters, meters, meters. Who puts their username so long? Well, not really username, but name. almost done.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank
So
you.
are we all done with this? Anyone who wants
Almost.
to look at the unit test?
I actually kind of want to look at the unit test.
So are you guys done with whatever that's on the screen now? You're done? Okay. Then you
almost,
can-
almost.
Oh, almost? Okay, let me scroll back.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Then you can take a look at the unit test. That's here.
Okay. So Eastern time, it would be. So Eastern time would have to be.
Eastern time is 10 right now. So yeah,
Yes,
so are you on
so-
the West Coast or are you in California?
Wait, California? No. No.
You're in Michigan. So Michigan is Eastern time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
it would
Thursday by
be.
8. Yeah. I mean, you guys should finish it way before that, right? That's like the absolute deadline. So I would expect that you guys turning like by Wednesday or even earlier. Yeah,
Okay.
so you can, okay, what you can do is that you can do your homework first. So there's homework 6. Then you go ahead and review lesson 1 to 6. And then you will actually sit down and do the test in 1 hour. Okay?
Okay.
So that's how it goes.
So the homework, I'm actually going to be going out all week because my parents will have work and I have to go with them and take care of
Yeah.
my brother as well. So I mean, I have to figure out how to do my homework at the same time sometimes. So
Yeah, but you know, prioritize the test. You really need to turn in the test. So if you don't have time to do both, do the test, okay? And then worry about the homework later. You can do that.
okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no problem. Okay, are we all done? Melissa, have any you have any questions? Adia?
I'm not done.
Bye.
Okay.
I'm not
Adia,
done
okay. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the notes up here, and when you're done, you can just log off. Okay?
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.